I looked through back during day one. If we go back to the document, the player's guide, one of the or some of the archetypes recommended where were we? Bar Barbarian. There were some alchemist ones recommended. Geologist, there was Dancer, blah blah blah, Skip, Crypt Breaker, and Trap Breaker, I believe, is the other one. So if we go down here, we have Crypt Breaker, open that one, and some sort of Trap Breaker. So both of them are somewhat similar after an initial read, but they change out slightly different features. For example, Crypt Breaker, common known as Syrian, perfect. Requires perception and magical adaptation to investigate the mysteries of the land's past, often involved in expeditions to dangerous tombs and catacombs where the abilities to create chemical devices to neutralize constructs and undead are often crucial to survival. You know what? That sounds perfect. We're going in tombs, we're going to be fighting against undead and constructs somewhat with large frequency. What does that give us? Designed bombs are designed to work against constructs and corporeal undead, two foes commonly encountered in ancient tombs. Eat away at unliving flesh and animated constructs, but doesn't work well against other targets. Constructs and corporeal undead, you deal a d8 damage plus the normal stuff. Extra d8. For all other creatures, it deals 1d4 points of damage plus 1d4 points of force damage for every odd numbered level. Well, that seems pretty spectacular. As a note, force bombs are one of the best discoveries. They do d4 points of damage. This one's already doing force to everybody except for the main target. The main Alchemist bomb does untyped damage. Oh, it does acid damage instead. Okay. Which most undead and constructs are not known to resist, barring if they pass magic to do so. What else do we have? We rather than develop mutagens, focus on special drops that enhance senses. Bonus on perception checks and gain one of the following special senses: dark vision, low light, scent. Okay, that's not particularly great. And you gain light blindness while using it. That is quite bad. Well, I'm trying to adjust my headphones a little bit. There we go. So the reason I say it's quite bad is because the mutagen discovery is quite decent, even if not spectacular. But at the very least, that's what, permanent dark vision? Okay, maybe not quite permanent dark vision, but high uptime dark vision seems decent. You get trap finding, halfway level bonus perception to locate traps and disable device. You can use disable device to disarm magical traps. La-di-da, that's exactly what we're looking for. Means we don't have to take the trait, which means we can just deal with traps quite easily. I take the following rogue discovery, or challenge discovery, quick disable trap sense and trap spotter. Treat his alchemist level as rogue level for these talents. Once again, perfect. Trap spotter being the main feature we're looking for, that allows you to automatically make perception checks to locate traps if you happen to come in the vicinity of them. Finally, enhanced alchemist. According to the level, it grows more potent against against normal against your common foes. Your bombs deal plus 1 point of damage per die, and the bomb is treated as a 19 to 20 crit range. It does not stack with other effects that improve critical threat range. It replaces persistent mutagen. Other than that, you still retain all of the other features of the common rogue. Of note, it does stack with the Trap Breaker, technically. Because this doesn't get rid of anything that uses poisons. So, technically, you could take both. Unfortunately, you do get trap finding. Both are named the same feature, thus do not stack. Poison resistance, though, is decent, considering that we're likely to encounter a fair few poisons down there. Explosive disarm, you can throw bombs to disarm traps without setting it off. Again, eh. Got landmines up, eh. You know what? No, that doesn't seem near as good. So Crypt Breakers sounds like a lot of fun. Is there anything that is spectacular? I mean, Kobold only could be a lot of fun. What does the Kobold only one do? No, you can set up your bombs as traps and eventually get the rogue trap fighting class feature. Don't really need that. We do need bombs. It doesn't look like it. As a quick glance through. I will make a note for those who enjoy playing rogues. Vivisectionist is effectively what it does is it turns alchemists from a normal class into, or their normal class into a rogue. They trade out their entirety of their bombs for sneak attack of rogue progression. So instead of doing the normal stuff, they get sneak attack. They trade do they trade anything else out? No, he just adds some extra stuff to his formula book. So, in my opinion, Vivisectionist, I mean, it's a little bit evil in terms of flavor, and sometimes they like to experiment and use some maybe evil knowledge of dissecting people to study healing and anatomy. Take that away, basically you decided that, I mean, you can flavor it however you want. The biggest problem I have with this is it's just straight up better than the average rogue. Because not only do you get the main thing you're looking for in rogues, but you also get all of the other stuff. So let's go ahead and take an opportunity here. Let me make sure that my Discord doesn't open on the thing I don't want it to. And open up the old Discord. And while we're waiting, Discord is now open on the left monitor. I'm going to go ahead and go over the various rules that I have personally when creating a game. These are mostly the standard bans. No alignment restriction, assuming that you can work well with the group, as I've talked about before. I, as a more experienced GM, don't have a problem with people playing any alignment. For most games, that's okay. For some games, they require much more specific alignment. Hell's Rebels needs you to be chaotic. Hell's Vengeance requires you to be lawful and somewhat evil. So there are exceptions to that sort of thing. But for the most part, play an alignment that can work well with the party. So next up, standard point buy of 20. That is kind of just generic. 3 traits, one must be the campaign trait. I've said that before. We're not using that for this specific campaign. But for the average campaign, if I am forcing the players to take a campaign trait, then when I'm giving them the option for, or we're playing an adventure path that has campaign traits, I like giving them the option, especially because a lot of them are just not very good. Background skills are on, nice and easy. Now, as for things that I normally ban, there is something called, there's a spell called Blood Money. It allows you to use con damage, or sorry, take strength damage in the place of spending money on casting spells. So any spells that has a material component, you can spend, it's like 1 strength damage per 10, or per like 100 gold pieces, per 50 gold pieces, something in that range. The reason I ban it is because it is easily abusable, not only with the basic stuff. Pathfinder is built on some of the more powerful spells costing money, so stuff like Stone Skin, Communal Stone Skin, becomes way too good when it becomes free. But more than that, you can possess creatures with a possession spell, and then use their body, with a little bit of shape-shifting magic, of course, to be the blood sack. A little bit evil, maybe. Hard to say. Unintelligent animals have been used for that sort of thing in the past. But it's too easy to abuse. Blood money gets thrown out the window. Infinite money schemes. There's a number of ways in Pathfinder to get infinite money. You get infinite time. You get you do crafting. Whatever that is, just don't do it. Don't need to bring it to my attention. I know they exist. I know there are ways to go about getting infinite money. I know Pathfinder economy is not necessarily balanced. Just straight up banned. Simulacrum. Simulacrum is a spell that allows you to... I mean, the best way to do it is I'll just... Pathfinders always do that. Simulacrum. Simulacrum is a spell that allows you to make, basically, made from snow, but 50 gold piece per hit die of the Simulacrum. It allows you to sculpt the original. Of note, you don't actually have to be good at disguise to be able to make them. A perception check opposed by disguise. The most important thing is they have to hit die and lose any appropriate features based on that. However, most monstrous creatures don't have hit die based abilities. Some of them they'll lose BAB, they'll lose saves, they'll lose skills, no big deal with that. What you're looking for is special abilities. So even just the most basic, creatures that gain, like demons, angels, all outsiders get greater teleport at will. Self plus 50 pounds. Not that overpowered, but imagine just telling them go to a market in the middle of nowhere, grab a bunch of food and sell off our gear, and come back. Easy, simple. And not only that, but there's a bunch of creatures that exist within the realm of Pathfinder that can give bonuses to the players if they're encountered and you befriend them. So the most famous example, in my mind, is a succubus. A succubus has a feature called Profane Gift. They kiss a creature or whatever. They give them +2 profane bonus to any statistic. However, at any point, they're able to take that away and it does a bunch of charisma drain. Simulacrums, however, they are not. They're under the control of the user. They're never going go against the control of the user, so it's effectively spending 4,000 gold pieces. Succubus has about 8 hit die, getting the +2 bonus on every single one of your party members and any nice NPC you come across, and never having to worry about that. But not only that, there is no hit die limit on the base spell based on your. Oh, there is. You can't exceed a creature's hit die or level who exceeds twice your caster level. Unfortunate, not the end of the world. Because that's not a thing that comes up often. However, there's also no requirement for you to have encountered the creature before. So, if you can get enough hit dice on the spell, you can do things like gods, high-level monsters. Yes, it is a 7th level spell. Nothing's preventing you from buying a scroll of this. It is 7th level spell, so the earliest you can cast is 13th level. That's 26 hit die of creatures. Way too easy to abuse. I don't mind like a basic, hey, I'm going to create a simulacrum myself to mind my store while I'm away. Also, you can use them for crafting slaves. You can use them for all sorts of nonsense. So, simulacrum nonsense is what I say is banned, or is just straight up banned. Next, alchemical allocation. That is a spell. Specifically an alchemist spell. It allows you cast it, or you drink this extract, and then if you consume a potion or elixir on the following round that you consume this extract, you can spit it back into its container as a free action, gaining all the benefits but not consuming it. Effectively, it just breaks the assumed money economy and potion economy and spells per day economy. For a 2nd level spell, any temporary buff or consumable item, potions of heroism, potions of remove disease, potions of neutralize poison, potions of lesser restoration, all those consumables that you would normally say, no, we're only going to buy a couple of and you never know, and then we'll have to spend the money, so on and so forth. You instead just have this bottle of spit that the entire party can backwash over and over and over again. A bit disgusting, but balance-wise, it's just too powerful. It's a 2nd level extract. It effectively allows you to make any 3rd or lower level spell free. But not only that, you can buy potions at a higher than minimum caster level in non-organized play. So imagine a 15th level Barkskin is +5 natural armor bonus. You swig back one of those, you spit it back out, and lo and behold, this 15th level potion you can use as many times as you want. Once again, it breaks the standard assumption, and that's the biggest problem I have with it. I played with it numerous times in the past. I've tried to balance it. It's just easier to ban. If you want stuff like potions of heroism or lesser restoration, just prepare those extracts. That's how the game assumes things are going to go. And finally, Tears to Wine. Not Tears to Win, Tears to Wine. Is just powerful because it's missing some basic text. You Legendary Rune Lord created this spell. Neat. However, creatures that drink the mead or wine created by this spell, you cast it on basically anything. Any sort of liquid, contaminated or otherwise. Turns into wine or mead of average quality. You gain a +2 enhancement bonus that it scales to +5 at 9th caster level, +10 at 15th caster level, to all intelligence and wisdom-based skill checks. Works on 1 cubic foot per 2 levels of liquid. Lasts 10 minutes per level. However, there is no minimum amount you need to drink. A single sip of this wine, which at minimum caster level is 1 cubic foot, means you get these bonuses for 10 minutes per level. So a tiny sip, whenever the duration expires, you effectively have permanent uptime, +2 to +5, and even +10 eventually, to like half the skills in the game, including the most important ones being knowledge checks and perception checks. Just absolutely bonkers how good this spell is. It's too much. It's way too much. 150 starting gold, that is the standard in organized play. I don't like doing rolled starting gold. Some classes like getting more, some classes like getting less. 150 starting gold allows people to buy their starting gear, their starting weapons and all that, the basic adventuring equipment, should they need to. I've said this before, most adventures, unless it is specifically the point of the adventure, I'm not one to track carry weight, I'm not one to track food, or mundane ammunition, like arrows, crossbow bolts, sling bolts. I'm going to assume that you, as characters in the setting, restock those as appropriate, buy the appropriate amount, bring along an adventuring pack. Everybody has rope, everybody has some torches, a flint and steel, some parchment, some chalk, kind of that standard adventuring accoutrement. If it costs more than just a gold piece, then usually I might have you purchase it. But for the standard basic stuff, your adventures, you know what you need. You can just say, I pick up some adventuring gear, brilliant, set to go. I'm not going to hold you to that. The occasions where I will do that is, for example, in these wilderness survival settings, these desert survival settings, I might make sure, hey, have you got what you need? They'll say, yes, we've got our Wonder Bread and Russians. No big deal. Great, that's all you need. But as long as their players aren't being too obtuse, like carrying 15 sets of full plate as a wizard, for the most part, I just give you the thumbs up. Keep things under control, do things as appropriate, make sure you're not doing anything weird. If you're going to be carrying a bunch of stuff, cast Ant Haul. Stuff simple like that. It just bogs down the game a bit too much, and is not the part of Pathfinder and other role-playing games that people enjoy. So stick to what people enjoy, and everybody will have a lot more fun. Next up, no T-set. I will show you an item that if you do not know about, you should. It is very expensive. T-set. Kiryukai T-set. For 38,160 gold. However, this is a party-wide item, so effectively, say a party of 4, each person pitches in, what? A little under 10k, like 9k, 950k. So you can buy this item maybe in the teens. You set up a tea ritual that everybody must take part in once per day as a 1-hour ritual, so just kind of when you're getting up in the morning. Keep in mind, adventuring for more than 8 hours imposes penalties. So you have 8 hours of rest, maybe 10 hours if you happen to have problems with watches. 8 hours of adventuring, and then you're left with somewhere between 4 to 8 hours of just doing things, setting up your camp, having a tea party, doing your kind of downtime activities, maybe doing a couple hours of crafting. However it happens to be, the Karaoke tea set is 1 hour at the beginning of the day, which gives... there's a tea ceremony. You can spend 10 gold per person Or you can just take a -4 penalty on your diplomacy checks. Up to 6 creatures can give the benefit. For the next, 24 hours, 8 hours? For the next 12 hours is what you're looking for. You gain the benefit of, based on your diplomacy check, +4 bonus on saves against poison and fear, and neutralize poison and remove disease, and heroism, and greater heroism instead of normal heroism. So this 40k gold piece item, or 10k per party member, gives you remove disease, neutralize poison, bonuses against those saves, and fear effects, and greater heroism for 12 hours. Greater heroism being one of the single best buff spells in the game. If we go to greater heroism, this gives you a +4 bonus on attack rolls, saves, skill checks, immunity to fear, hit points equal to your caster level, or a caster level of the T set, which is 11 in this case. It's bonkers. It is absolutely bonkers. So effectively, this is +4 to every D20 roll you're going to make. It's ridiculous. It's the entire party as well, and they get it for 12 hours straight. So it's effectively permanent for the adventuring day, barring enemies who ambush you at night. It's bonkers to the point that the only way I've found to offset it is effectively giving every enemy the advanced template. That's... If the entire difficulty to overcome a single magical item is to increase the CR of an encounter by 1, of every encounter by 1, it's too powerful an item. Once again, banned. Of course, Summoner is still banned. Use Unchained Summoner if you have to. I did recently, in my most recent game, ban initiative boosting familiars, just because they're way too good as compared to all others. But beyond that, everything is kind of on a case-by-case basis. Those are the common ones. Leadership is also banned. This feat Leadership effectively gives you a second character. You don't have to... it's not even to the point of you have to power game this, munchkin this, to make an incredibly powerful second character. Just having one extra person in your party, even if they're slightly weaker, it is powerful. To the point of, it's an extra, in a party of 4, 25% again as many actions. If everybody takes it, you double your number of actions. It's too strong, too easily abusable, banned. Now, of course, all of these cases, or all of these things are on a case-by-case basis. So if someone has a good reason to take one of these things and is not going to abuse it, maybe I'll allow it. Or if there are specific things within the settings, like, for example, some of the adventure paths don't require leadership, but do mention leadership numerous times through the game and give examples of how you can use leadership in the game. In that circumstance, I will allow it. Usually, in that case, I require them to take one of the NPCs they found along the way, or recruit a very specific and usually slightly weaker NPC, or people you recruit with leadership as your cohort will have like a 15-point buy, along with being quite suboptimal until the party is, or the character is able to, or the player, is able to start leveling them up from there. Retraining is another feature that I am very much not a fan of. It's an integral part of the game, and many adventure paths do take advantage of it. However, the fact that you can spend 5 days and then just wipe away knowledge you spent, in theory, months, years training for in exchange for new knowledge seems... it doesn't make sense within the world, but balance-wise, sure, okay, fine. Now then, we've gone through the bans, explained some of them related to this Alchemist here, alchemical allocation being just bonkers, but Cryptbreaker archetype, this is going to be my rogue. It gives trap finding, it gets a number of extracts, which we can use for stuff like defensive spells, visibility, stealth, all that sort of good stuff. So, let's go ahead and start building one. Grab this guy here, whatever his name happens to be. Tori, I'm gonna not go any further. So, they technically use spells. We're not gonna worry about that. Display unchained skills, because we prefer that. We'll do it with race later. For now, we are going to go Alchemist. Specifically, a Crypt Breaker. Oops, there was an improper parenthesis there. Level 1, these are a D8 hit die. They can be any alignment. I haven't fully decided the alignment of this character. For now, I'm just going to set it as true neutral. Probably going to lean more towards either neutral good or lawful neutral, just kind of make the party cohesion a little bit better. Hit points is going to be max at first level. We assume he's going to take here. Once again, 3/4 bad. For now, I'm just going to leave it at 0. If you're going to be taking multi-classing or prestige classes and whatnot, I would ask your GM if they can use fractional BAB, at which point you can put like 0.75 here as opposed to 0. This always rounds down. You don't have to worry about that, but if you then get another class, for example, clicking this arrow unlocks a second class, you can put 0.75 in, and then it'll round up to 1. It's one way to make multi-classing slightly better, because it can be quite painful in base Pathfinder, unless you have a very specific build you're going for. But for now, 0. Good saves is Fortitude and Reflex, which is not great, not awful. And then skills is 4 per level. Next up, let's go ahead and go over to those skills. And go ahead and check our class skill. We have got Appraise, Craft, Stable Device, Fly Heal, Arcana and Nature. Very limited in terms of knowledges. Would have a lot more. Perception, Profession, Sleight of Hand. Okay. Perception, Profession, Sleight of Hand. Spellcraft, Survival, Use Magic Device. Okay. So I will note, this is going to be our intelligence-based character. As a result, he is expected to have a lot of the knowledge skills. Specifically, Knowledge Religion is going to be the one that he's going to be taking. Knowledge Planes, basically all the monster lore. The rest of them can kind of be a group effort, but those are going to be his. Or hers. Again, still haven't decided. Beyond that, we do have a number of features. We have Alchemy. This is basically our spell casting. Alchemists are a little bit different, as I talked about before. Instead of preparing spells as per usual, they prepare extracts. Every day they can craft them. They function similar to potions. They last forever as long as you do not prepare a new extract in the place of the one that is currently prepared. You infuse chemical and reagents. They remain... Oh, no, apparently it remains only potent for 1 day before losing its magic. Oh. Okay, whatever. You must prepare them every day. It takes 1 minute of work per extract. Usually you just prepare them at the start when other wizards are preparing their spell book. You do have a formula list, which is basically your spell book. You can copy new stuff into it, and every day you can prepare spells out of it. Everything is based on your intelligence modifier, if there is any sort of DC. Drawing components, oh, that's related to bomb. So, speaking of bombs. Bombs are very similar. They're basically, you know, like the Alchemist fire and acid flasks that people normally throw. Bombs are somewhat similar. You get a number of bombs per day equal to your class level plus your intelligence modifier. So we're going to need a high intelligence modifier if we want to take great advantage of these bombs. They're unstable and must be used in the round they're created. You create them kind of as part of throwing them. The standard action: mix the bomb and throw the bomb. They function as a splash weapon. Within 20 feet, you throw them. For every 20 feet beyond 20, you take a -2 to hit. If you throw them and you hit, you deal damage, and then everything around you takes the minimum splash damage. So, assuming you rolled 1 on all the dice, plus your intelligence modifier, damage, reflex save for reflex negates or reflex for full? That is a great question. Reflex for half. So you do have to be very wary of your party members being caught in the splash. But other than that, it's a pretty simple class feature. Later down the line, you can make it so you can throw multiple bombs around. You can, excuse me, if you, assuming you hit the target directly, you can ignore your party members if they're adjacent to the bad guy. Just a bunch of different cool things. I do love me some bombs. You lose out on I think we traded away Brew Potion, didn't we? We did. We gained Trap Finding in its place. Mutagen, normally, we don't have to worry about, but most importantly, throw anything. Get it at first level, you add your intelligence modifier to all damage done with splash weapons, including splash damage, if any. Already included the bomb discovery. And then, of course, you get discoveries. Alchemical discoveries are basically, I mean, not even close to wizard discoveries, but there are just a bunch of different class features, many of which have prerequisites. They do different things with your bombs. They give you... let's scroll past all the bombs, I guess. Extracts discoveries. You can combine extracts. You can give your extracts to other people. You can throw a quasit out. There's just a ton of cool stuff here. However, we don't have to worry about that right now, because we don't get a discovery until second level, which is probably going to be Infusion. So, let's go ahead and go to our Crypt Breaker. Class features. We get Alchemist bombs. We get Crypt Breaker's Draught. Another way you can do this, instead of typing out everything, is we can just do a good old copy-paste. I'm going to go ahead and copy and paste the information here as well. What you will note is the duration of these consumables is, I believe, is it 10 minutes per level, or is it an hour per level? Roll on down to the mutagen. Usually, don't drink it if you're not the guy, or you become nauseated. If multiple don't stack. Takes 1 hour to brew a mutagen, and once brewed, it remains potent until used. Lasts for 10 minutes per alchemist level. So not a long time, but once you start getting up there in level, long enough for the entirety of a dungeon. Usually going through a dungeon might take an hour or two. So once you get up to like 7th or 8th level, you can probably just chug it and not have to worry about it. So, interesting to know. We get the Trap Finding class feature. Second. Finding is nice and easy. And we gain access to discoveries, expanded outcasts. We don't have to worry about those for now. For now, we just give ourselves a thumbs up. Now, anything else we get? We get Throw Anything as a class feature. I don't know why this is not updating itself. Let's go ahead and say Throw Anything. Go ahead and hit recalc here. Hopefully trap finding disappears. There it goes. Bombs we've got, brew potions we don't get, mutagen we don't get. Brilliant. Okay. So that makes things nice and simple. Let's go ahead and go over to our spells per day. We are an int-based class. For now, we haven't done anything with our intelligence because we haven't yet bought things. We are a prepared caster. We gain access to 1 spell at first level. Of note, alchemists do not get access to the highest level of magic. They do get some higher level stuff. For example, alchemists, some spells that might be like 4th level might be 3rd level for alchemists, so they get it round about the same time if it's something important for their kit. But for the most part, not that big a deal. So, beyond that, we just need to keep in mind. It's a ranged weapon if we want to throw bombs, so we need dexterity. We could go a strength build if we wanted to, just kind of ignore the bombs class feature. However, this is supposed to be kind of a more rogue archetype stealth disable device. It makes sense for them to have a fair bit of dexterity. So we're probably going to be a ranged character, given that feature. Next, we have... Also keep in mind, you only get 3/4 spab. However, you are aiming for touch AC most of the time. So you should have an easier go of that. However, if you're going to be using bombs with any regularity, you're going to need point-blank shot and precise shot. Point-blank shot is just a requirement. However, precise shot... Archives of Nethys pop up first? It does not, but it is down there. You can shoot or throw ranged weapon and melee without taking a standard -4 penalty. So, ranged weapons have a huge penalty early on. It is difficult to make use of them if your party has a lot of melee combatants. For one, if you don't have this feat, and one of your party members is standing adjacent to an enemy, or one of your party members is threatening an enemy, or vice versa, if someone is being threatened by somebody else, and you target that enemy, you take a -4 to hit. Pretty rough at early levels. That's a 20% miss chance, effectively, what this is giving you. So, wipe away that with precise shot. However, on top of that, you stack, if you are attacking through someone, granted cover. Cover is a feature that effectively says your body is either concealed by a wall, your body is hidden behind a party member, something along those lines. You also take a -4 to hit with that. Both of these features stack, effectively granting a -8 unless you have precise shot and point-blank shot. It's quite rough. So, do your best, I guess. It's just very unfortunate. So, as for his first feat, we're going to be go ahead and take precise shot, or sorry, point-blank shot, which all it says is you get +1 hit and damage on ranged weapons within 30 feet. The reason we take this is because it's required for stuff later down the line. We do get 1 bonus from class here. If you want to keep track of your feats, normally I just do the numbers in my head. So, I'm going to go ahead and show you how to set up buffs. There are common buffs if you have a pre-existing spell. A lot of them already exist here. The Roll20 sheet is decent. It doesn't have all of them, but it has some. So, we're going to call this point-blank shot. We select buff 1 and select buff 2. This is going to be ranged weapon. We go down here. We do range attack. You can set it as a bonus type, however, this is an untyped bonus. You set these as bonus types, for example, because if you have 2 enhancement bonuses, they're the same thing. So 2 enhancement bonuses to strength, for example, they do not stack. You only take the higher one. However, again, this is untyped, so +1. And range damage, +1. Now, if we go over to the attack section and we activate this bad boy, you'll notice that we do have and then of course hit the recalc thing. We have a +1 buff here, so our ranged attacks are better. You'll see that in damage as well once we set up a ranged attack. The important thing to note, just checking this box doesn't automatically change things sometimes, especially once your sheet starts getting bigger. You have to hit the recalc button. So that being said, only make buffs that are either active for long periods of time, or you plan to have on regularly. Having to recalc every time can take 15, 20, 30 seconds out of your turn. So, while we do that, let's go ahead and learn how to do attack macros, specifically within Roll20. We can do normal bomb, and we have our Alchemist bomb. So we'll start with the normal bomb. So it is a ranged attack. We go against touch AC. It is a 19 to 20, or a 20 times 2 crit range. But the default is 20 times 2. Unless it says otherwise, just leave that. It does 1d4 points of damage. 1d4 points of damage. Plus our intelligence modifier. This is going to be force damage. And it's as simple as that. Iterative attacks you can set down here. You just make this check mark. And do the attack modifier. This is the modifier based on the original attack here. So, for example, if it's a attack at -2, then you put a -2. If it's attack at -5, -5. If it's attack at the highest BAB, you put a -0. So this modifies this here. Don't change the math here. So we don't need to worry about that. Then we have extra damage. For example, if you get sneak attack, you put type and non-critical damage, or type and critical damage. You'll do bracket, 2d6, close bracket, close bracket. The angle bracket is what I'm talking about. But for now, we don't have to worry about that. You can use weapon notes. This could be good for if you have like poisons on it, or the grab feature. This allows you to make, you can maybe roll dice there if need be. just all around simple stuff. But for the most part, we now throw this bomb, and if we go back over to roll 20, scroll down, we see that good old Toreb rolling that one. Okay. High damage, minimum attack. That doesn't bode well for me. It feels like it's going to be feast or famine. But it's roll 20 is it makes things easy. It takes a little bit to get a hang of the sheet, but once you get a hang of it, you're golden. So then we do the Alchemist bomb. Make sure I'm spelling that right. Est bomb. This will be, once again, against touch AC. It is considered a ranged attack, and it is 1d8 points of damage, plus your intelligence modifier. However, this is acid damage. We lower that down. I have a feeling this guy is going to use some sort of bow. We might want to set up that attack. For now, I'm not going to worry about gaining gear. So we're just going to close that down, open this back up. Now then, we figured out our class, figured out our features, figured out how attacks work. Let's go ahead and jump over to race. So Pathfinder race. We're going to open this both in Roll20 and the PFSRD, because the PFSRD does have access to the table that I love. So we're looking for intelligence, and preferably dex, something that doesn't reduce either, or at the very least doesn't reduce either of those. Elf is a great option, because they get both the stats we care about. However, losing on is a bit rough. Half elf, good. Half orc, good. Human, great. Would allow us to immediately pick up precise shot. Looking down in the other options, we're going to avoid Dampire on any of our characters. There's variant options for them. We can do Ifrit, maybe. It's probably worth looking into Ifrit, Sylphs, Undines. Basically, all these races that are related to outsiders in some way can be decent. Sylph might be fun to try out, depending on how things go. Tiefling, get Dex at minus Charisma. That seems awesome. Anything else here? Give the stats we care about. And Wisdom for Samsarin. Dex in for androids. We're not doing an android. That's dumb. And we're not doing that guy either. In which case, we're probably going to be stuck with... Let's just go ahead and scroll down. Alternate heritages. No. Alternate heritages. No. Sylphs already have that. So let's go ahead and go over roll this guy here, because this happens to be a little bit better for overall. We go with Sylph. There we go. So they're an option. Undines. Dex int minus Charisma. Frost Souled Undine. Put them on the list. And Tieflings. Tieflings by native have Dex and int minus Charisma. So they'll be added to the list. Of note, none of these are core races within Pathfinder, however, they are uncommon. So, both of these two represent elemental races, or specifically the Geniekin races. So, related to, Ifreeze, Jinny, Marids, and Shaitan. So, they are fine options. We can take a quick look. They're highly related, all of these three. They get their stats. They usually come with some sort of spell-like ability, a little bit of energy resistance, and somehow, or usually some sort of affinity. It gives them bonuses for certain bloodlines if they have those bloodlines. However, this guy does not. So, this guy's going to be an alchemist. So, minus Constitution is fine. Once again, this is going to end up similar to an elf. We're just kind of looking to see if something inspires us at this point. These guys are related to air. There's a couple extra sub-races that give charisma instead. We don't care about that. Air insight, don't care. Sylphs are better. Control the wind. You can channel the wind into a simple gust to make a bull rush attempt. Gain fast healing anytime you take electrical damage, whether or not it gets through your electrical resistance. Up to 2 hit points per level per day. Okay, that's not. I mean, it's not much of something, but there are cantrips and such that do electrical damage. Like I think Jolt does a D3 points of electricity damage, so you zap yourself, get fast healing, or get a little bit of fast healing. Neat. Bonus move speed, that's awesome. In exchange for your electricity resistance, sonic resistance instead. Eh. Bonuses against enchantments and divinations, that seems quite good. Mostly humans, similar to the other races. This is your spell-like ability. You can speak with birds and other flying animals. You can read the skies much better. Plus, for a bonus to stealth checks. Again, we're playing. This guy's going to be kind of a roguish short. So these guys are especially thin and wispy. They're made of more air than flesh. Okay, that makes sense. That's decent. Undyne, once again, the sub-race that we care about is the one that gives us Dex Int minus Charisma. Because Charisma is way easier for us to get rid of than Constitution is. Ice Affinity replaces the base Water Affinity, except for functions for different things. Not the big a deal. Gains Chill Touch as a spell-like ability. Again, not great. We don't care too much about that. Deep Sight. You get 120 Dark Vision when underwater, but otherwise there's no Dark Vision at all. No, thank you. You can appear human. Terrain Chameleon. Bonus in underwater. Blind Sense 30 when underwater. These seem... I mean, these are the water planar creatures, so it makes sense that a lot of them are in the aquatic subtype in the amphibious special quality. We're going in the desert. Maybe this water man isn't such a good idea. Let's close out of that one. And then tieflings. We looked at ASMR before. Tieflings are very similar, except they do have a penalty to their statistics. +2 to a couple of different stats. They can use darkness once per day as a spell-like ability. Anybody that can see in the dark can see through that. They get a bunch of resistances. Bonuses to their fiendish sorcery, not that big a deal. They have a bunch of different stat bumps. For example, +2 dex, +2 intelligence. These are based on the various creatures they may have spawned from. Any dex int minus charisma? No. We can do... the one that we do have is dex int minus wisdom. Gives disable device and sleight of hand. Death Knell as a spell-like ability, not a huge fan of that one. But Daemons spawn. Daemons being basically people who just want to wipe out all of existence and, you know, eat the souls of humans as tasty snacks. Doesn't jump out at me. And then, of course, we did have elves. Elves being an option there. So both of these are dex int minus con. So, things to keep in mind about elves is they get low light vision, elven immunities, which gives immunity to sleep magic, and bonuses on saves against enchantment effects. +2 on overcoming spell resistance, and +2 bonus on spellcraft made to identify magic items. +2 bonus on perception checks. Proficient with all with longbows, longswords, rapiers, and short bows, and treat all elven weapons as martial weapons. The important thing there is they get rapiers and longbows. However, I believe this guy is going to be is going to have a low strength score. I'll say guy. Again, this can be guy or girl. I use guy and dude as gender neutral terms a lot of the time, so don't worry too much about it. These are... Oh, what was I going to say with this? Sub-races, these basically just say, hey, if you want to try and be these guys, trade out these various creatures instead. Crossbow trading was something I saw. Most Spire Elves, or more than Spire Elves, trained weapon used underwater. They can reload like crossbow as a free action. Every crossbow has a move, providing they have training. If you select rapid reload. Okay. I will note, the Mordant Spire Elves are the only ones apparently that have this. This is from a very, very specific adventure path. So, it's probably, for the purpose of roleplay, it doesn't make sense for our character to have taken it. However, uh, statistically, it's way better. Reloading your crossbow as a free action is quite good. Even though we're not going to be using a crossbow for extensive period of time, it's something to consider. But just because of the nature of this, I don't need to make the character as powerful as possible. Odds are he's only going to be using a crossbow for maybe the first 2, 3, 4 levels. He can deal with reloading as a move action. It basically comes down to what do you feel is more fun, what do I feel makes more sense. Sylph's Featherfall is nice, Dark Vision is very, very good. If the entire party has Dark Vision, then you don't have to worry about any form of light. It helps a lot with stealth. It just comes down to, I don't know if I... The main reason I might stay away from Sylphs is because I don't want the entire party, or most of the party, to be weird races. I'm pretty sure I'm going to have at least one human. The builds I have for the remaining two characters, at least one of them might be a human. The other one is up in the air at this point. So maybe going a little bit more traditional makes more sense, but I've never played a Sylph before. So what would I gain? I'd gain +2 to perception checks instead of +2 to or +4 to stealth, and then a little bit of modest utility. Yeah, okay, we're doing it. We're gonna play a Sylph. So what does that mean? Now that we know what we're doing, we're gonna go point by the old point by calculator. There's a bunch of different options you have. We can go to all. Or let's go ahead and just boon races. We go to. Okay, we're gonna go to PFS races. Those are basic. Now then, I would like at the very least, 16 there. No less. We can lower this to at least 8. We can lower this to at least 8. This would like to be at least a 14. And I'd like this to be at least a 14. That gives us 4 points left to work with. The reason I bought a 14 in both of those is because this will go up to 16. That's probably good enough for our purposes, making range attacks. Con being 12 is good enough. I don't like having lower than 12 on most any character unless you have a very specific reason not to. So I guess that gives us an option to round this up to 17. However, going up to 20 or going up to 18 is going to go a little bit too far because we'd have to dump both strength and charisma. And while I don't mind dumping one of them to 7, dumping both of them to 7 feels a little bit much for me in this instance. In which case, we're going to get to increase our wisdom score by 1. Or we can increase one of our other stats by 1, which I think we might do instead. I'll increase our strength score to 9 for no other reason than it is much more common to encounter strength poison as compared to any form of intelligence-based poison. So, or poison or drain or damage. Strength is one of the most common stats that is going to go down. Plus, it gives us a little extra carrying capacity. So 9 there, 16 there, 12 here, 19 there, 10 and 8. Okay, makes sense. Everything looks nice. Let's go ahead and recalc here. And go back over to our race. We are a Sylph. And that makes us an outsider native. Outsider. A native one. Do we have any extra... No, we don't have any extra subtypes there. Sometimes they come with extra subtypes. In the world, 30-foot base speed makes things simple. We get dark vision 60. Usually it's dark vision 60. There may be exceptions to that. Maybe other changes to that. We go traits. We go racial traits. So dark vision 60. We have a spell-like ability that we're likely to trade away, and air affinity we're likely to trade away. We might even trade away energy resistance. So for now, we'll hold off on all those. We do note that we wanted to go with Whispering Wind. It loses our spell-like ability. Featherfall is a decent spell, don't get me wrong. The ability to negate falling damage once a day for yourself and maybe allies as well, depending on how high your caster level is good. But +4 to stealth is going to come up a lot more often. Well, there are going to be a fair number of traps within the world of this game, but you know what? We're playing a sneak thief. Just do stealth. Race bonus of +4. Wow, they don't get stealth with the class skill. No big deal there. We were trading away energy resistance and spell-like ability. Okay, we're not doing that. Trading away energy resistance can give us a bonus 5 foot of movement. Energy resistance electricity 5 is very, very niche. I'm probably just going to trade that away. So instead we have Like the Wind. +5 foot to your base land speed. Okay, it goes up to 35 feet. It's a very awkward number, and I'm seldom probably going to remember that, but if you're playing this character specifically, or playing a character like this, it would make a lot of sense. Breeze Kiss, or Air Insight, doesn't matter, we don't summon monsters. Breeze seem to follow you whenever you go. You need +2 AC against range attacks. You can renew these as a swift action. Once per day, you can channel the wind. Okay. That's a little bit better than I thought. And then, of course, Storm Blood. We traded away our electricity resistance, so Storm Blood doesn't make sense for us. So I guess we're going to go Breeze Kiss. Special, or race trait. Going to be Breeze -Kiss. Supernatural ability doesn't mean that it will turn off in areas of anti-magic. But for the most part, it's just a minor defensive bonus against non-magical. So at low level, it's a minor bonus, and the ability to bull rush or trip once a day is neat. Problem being that it doesn't say you use any other stat than your strength score, so we're gonna not be very good at it. But you never know. Maybe there'll become a time when we need to push someone into a trap that we've known about or we set off. Can come in handy. Next up, skills. So, skills that we are expected to have as this kind of character. Stable Device, that is going to be first on our list. Stealth is going to be next on our list. Beyond those two, I'm not overly worried. I might end up making this a class skill, depending on what we have available to us in our racial trait, or our campaign traits and background traits. Next up, we go background. We get our 2 free background skill checks. Engineering makes sense for us. And we want to do Sleight of Hand. Sleight of Hand is way less important than you might think it would be. One of the reasons why it's a background skill. But the various knowledge checks do make a lot of sense. So I think I might take them. Further thing I will note. All these skills that have a RT with a check mark here, that means they require training. That means if you are to roll a die and you don't have at least 1 skill rank in that skill, the highest you are allowed to achieve, no matter how high your D20 plus bonuses are, is a 10. The average person can never disable a lock with a DC higher than 10. So basically no lock in existence. The average person can achieve a knowledge check no higher than a 10, so no higher than what the average commoner might achieve. This makes it so that people actually have to specialize in skills to be capable of doing them, one thing I very much do enjoy, and you actually have to spend some time studying. So it can't just be that the average farmer went, oh yeah, you know what? I happen to have come across this before. I know exactly the powers of liches. Came across it in an old book. You know me, farmer, I like reading, I'm totally literate. It makes sense in my mind, at least. So, take those 2 knowledge checks. We might end up picking up Sleight of Hand later, should we have the opportunity. We're definitely picking up Knowledge Arcana. We're definitely... Oh god, how many skill ranks do we have? We have a total of 4 plus R, 4 intelligence for 8 skill ranks plus a 2 background. We're going to have to take Spellcraft because we are the only intelligence-based character in the party. We should take Perception because we just should take that. I will also note we will have +4 when uh when drinking. We'll just do +4 when consume. What's the actual uh +4 under draught might be the same way to might be the right way to do it. Under draught. Reason, of course, we're taking this is because we care about it. And we have 3 adventure ranks remaining. So we want Dungeoneering, we want Planes, we want Religion. We are missing out on Local, that's not necessarily my job. There's a lot of stuff here I would like to take, however, we just don't have the skill points to do it at this point in time. Make sure we have that proper, okay. We are good. So, things that I'm missing out on. Not having Knowledge Religion as a class skill is rather unfortunate, because it's going to come up quite regularly. Not having Stealth as a class skill is another unfortunate one. So let's go through and do a quick read of the background traits and see if one makes sense for us. Makes Knowledge Nobility as a class skill. We have Knowledge History and Knowledge Religion. One of those is a class skill. So Devotee of the Dead God. Foreign Opportunist, Mix of Praise. Inquisitive Archaeologist. That gives you bonuses to Knowledge Engineering. Makes it a class skill for you. Mummy Curse, we don't care about. Resurrected, don't care. Sphinx Riddler, I hate as a concept. So, Inquisitive Archaeologist makes sense, possibly lore-wise. I think Devotee of the Dead God, Old God, makes a little more sense. It also gives us Knowledge Religion. So that gives us knowledge, +1 to Knowledge History. And +1 to Knowledge Religion. Makes one of them a class skill for us, which we'll be doing for Knowledge Religion. In addition, you gain a +1 bonus on saves against divination magic. This is something I would put here. Include save note and roll, +1 versus divine magic. So maybe, probably about half the magic in the game is that going to apply. Maybe like 47%. This is probably somewhere in the 5% range of magic that is psychic. But overall, we're fine. So we are a devotee of the old gods. Sorry, this is going to be a normal trait. Of the old gods. Given the fact that we are related in some way to the old gods, we do have to pick one to worship. Means we need to go ahead and go to... Probably just do it here. If we go to deities, we go to... We can close out of this now. We can close out of that now. We can close out of the archetype. We do deities by pantheon. Scroll down to deities of ancient Osirian. And we're just going to quickly look through their areas of concern. Because we're not getting class features from them, it's not overly important, but it might allow us to help shape our character. I think this might also give a good tie to our previous character. They both worship old gods, probably have some relation. They're both native outsiders, having some tie to the outer planes. So maybe they're related in some way, probably loosely related. In terms of familial relation, probably not. But maybe they grew up together, maybe they were somewhat outsiders because of their differences. Maybe they were raised together, one being the servant of the other. Maybe just childhood friends. Who's to note? But it does give us some way for our characters to have interacted before. So, afterlife, fertility, rebirth, no. Good serpents, forever sticks and wisdom, maybe. Household, luck, marriage, fertility, magic, protection, freedom, the rising sun, work. Like that one. Hunting, war, and weaving. Dance, joy, music, the sky, embalming, healing, and scorpions. Burial, the dead, funeral rites, mummification, tombs. Probably not going to do Horus. Or we might do... Well, no, we don't want to do rulership because our other guy is concerned with rulership. Justice, law, and order. Creation, rulership, the sun. Magic, the moon, wisdom, and writing. Okay, that makes sense. Thoth. Architecture, craftsmanship, creation, metalworking. That's another one that's it. Does make sense. Hatch, pleasure, secret, warning, night, protection of the dead. Fire, healing, vigilance, war. We're getting down to the evil deities. So I'm thinking Thoth or Ta makes sense to me. Quarterstaff being the favored weapon. Sickle being the favored weapon. Magic, the moon, wisdom, writing. We have the wiki link to both of these. Again, I'm not well informed of the ancient Egyptian lore, so it's going to take me a little bit of learning. I will note, do be careful. Some of these, some of these wiki articles do have spoiler information for various adventure paths. I'm not expecting any of these to, just because of how sparse the information is here. Given that they're so lacking in information in a lot of these, I'm not expecting anything there. But if you happen to see any spoiler information, immediately close out of the page. You just apologize to the GM. Say, hey, I was looking for some background information. Started reading this wiki article about a deity that I was thinking about worshiping. Happened to see something spoiler related. As soon as I said that, I closed it down. I'll try and avoid any roleplay problems that are associated with that. Usually that's no big deal. Some people may take great offense to that, thinking you're trying to power game, metagame, or something like that. Just take people in good faith. It happens sometimes. Some wiki articles that you think don't have important stuff do have important stuff. Just treat others the way you want to be treated. It's a very simple concept, no matter what kind of thing you're doing. So, Thoth, like science, history, and philosophy. Hieroglyphs, scribes, matter. Thoth encourages his followers to spread order and knowledge of records, big and small. Deities are way less common. Ibis-headed man, but occasionally depicted with a bamboo head. He's married to Mott and advises Ra. Okay. That can be a relation between the two of them. He assisted in resurrecting Osiris, giving the goddess magic necessary to return her husband to life. Okay, this makes a lot of sense. Let's go ahead and quickly go to Ta. Ta is a creator deity, so that he is the powerful that he is the only god to create himself, though he and Ra are venerated as creator gods. Earthquakes are a sign of displeasure. Depicted as a man wearing mummy wrappings, holds a staff that combines his three power. The dwarves often depict him instead as a naked, deformed dwarf. Okay, maybe not. He is the patron god of alchemists, architects, artisans, bards, builders. Okay, that's just a big list of anything. So everybody doing creative work worships him. It would make sense for us to worship this individual. However, I think in this instance, I prefer Thoth. Just because it relates, it can give like an advisory role to the party, with the other person being kind of the head, as it were. This person worshipping Thoth. It does make sense for them to switch over to lawful neutral in that case. Lawful neutral, or true neutral, does fit under their category of things that are people that are allowed to worship them. We'll go ahead and quickly, this character, or this deity, is in Pathfinder 2, allows us to take a quick look at their edicts and their anthema. These are the things you have to do and the things you shouldn't do when worshiping that religion. Promoting order, knowledge, and law, records. What do not you want to do is unstable systems, mechanisms, leave false information uncorrected. I mean, that all makes sense. So basically, keep good, clean records. Nice and simple. So this guy is a record keeper. I would like to give him knowledge history. Okay, maybe we should give him knowledge history. It would make sense in my mind. Okay, what do we not need? Engineering, let's maybe take away geography. I would normally go ahead and swap that out because I prefer knowledge history to be something he is more skilled at. We already got a guy who does knowledge history, so I would prefer to give this guy knowledge geography to balance things out, but it makes way more sense in terms of roleplay. Giving up a little bit of utility for the roleplay, perfectly acceptable, again. Other than that, we do need to pick 2 traits. So we've got the one related to... Oh, we also need to go ahead and do plus. We go floor, in parentheses, at, squiggly bracket, class dash 0 dash level, close squiggly bracket, divided by 2, close squiggly bracket. Now that should cause no issues. So plus 4, but if we go over here and change our level, and we say, for example, our level is now 4, we quickly go ahead and refresh this. Then if you notice, our perception bonus has gone from 4 to 4. Usually means something here has gone awry. Go ahead and do a bunch of angle brackets. I might just have to do this angle bracket here. Okay, let's try this. Whatever, I'll figure it out. For now, you can just input the number you care about. Trap finding does that have a minimum 1 associated with it? Go ahead and quickly switch over to Crypt Breaker. Crypt Breaker has a minimum 1. Yes, it does. Okay. So, hold on. I'm trying to reach for my good old-fashioned throat lozenges, because speaking for this long is grating on the voice. Okay. That... Oh, sorry. This is not... This is only... this is not plus 1. It is plus 1 traps. For traps. And we also get plus half our level to disable device checks. Is this all disable device checks? All disable device checks. Nice and easy. So plus 1. Alternatively, you can put it in one of these various columns. I like putting it here because I like having the various macros set up. Okay. So that, I believe, is officially that character done with. We still need to do equipment. I'll take care of equipment at the end. We'll just kind of do it quickly in fast hand. Oh, sorry, we need to list our favorite class. Doesn't need to have that there, but Crypt done. Notice his hit points is... oh, wait, no, hold on. We do need to lower him back to level 1. Come on. That way his con doesn't make him ridiculously hard. So yes, 8 hit points is much more reasonable. We do, quickly, let's go ahead and check and see if Sylph has anything good here. Nope, Sylph is not even an option. Okay, no big deal. As I just remembered, with our previous character, which apparently was still open, we forgot to do languages. So we go Pathfinder, LPH. Sylphs will have a list of this... oh, that's the wrong thing. Come on. Give me Arcus Nethys. There we go. So, languages. They speak Common and Orin. So that is quite easy. Vision details. Oh, I put Dark Vision in the wrong spot. Dark Vision 60 here. Languages is going to be Common and Orin. Orin being the language of the Air Elemental Plane and Air Elemental Outsiders. With high intelligence, may pick from Aquane, Dwarven, Elven, Gnome, Halfling, Ignan, and Terran. That is a very limited list, an unfortunately limited list, which means we should probably learn Ignan, Aquane, and Terran. Those are other elemental languages. They'll come up Not frequently, but they're more common than the other ones. Or not, they're not more common than the other ones. That's an upwards thing to say. It is more common that you will come across creatures who only speak those languages than to come across creatures come across creatures who speak the humanoid languages and common. All creatures natively speak common unless otherwise stated in terms of core races. So if you come across a dwarf, they might prefer you to speak dwarven to them, but they will still speak common to you unless they don't know. So we have an intelligence score of +4, which means we get 4 bonus languages. We've already picked 3 of them here. The question is, do I want us to go between Dwarven or Elven between the final 2? I think we're going to go with Dwarven. Specifically because it was listed that there was a sizable dwarf population within the Osirian. And as a result, we are a builder. We respect builders. We like ancient geography, or we like ancient history. Dwarves are meticulous note keepers. It makes sense for us to speak Dwarven if we have to choose between any of these languages. Job done. Job done there. Let's go ahead and jump back over to this one. Before we do that, again, Osiriani might be a language we want to learn. Do we have... I think we might skip out on engineering for now and pick up that rank or 2 in linguistics. Specifically for you, because I want you to know Ancient Osiriani. Osiriani. Sorry, Ancient Osirian. I keep calling it Ancient Osiriani because it sounds better on the phrase. So, little fiddling with that. But that's just for this campaign. Ancient Osiriani is going to come up regularly. The ranks in linguistics are going to help. Again, I messed up. Okay, back over to our Alchemist. Doing here. Doesn't matter. We go back over to Toreb. We'll need to come up with names later. Let's go ahead and just delete his last name. We're going to call you Toreb for now. We didn't do spells. So, going back to spells, we have... How many spells do we unlock at first level? I'm guessing it is 2 or 3 plus intelligence modifier. He stores forms in his tome. But not... he can play with 2 first level formulas of his choice, plus an additional number of formula equal to his intelligence modifier. So we're going to begin with a grand total of 6 Alchemist formulas known. Every new level you take an Alchemist, or a similar formula list, I think, you gain 2 new ones of any level that you want to choose from. You can't replace these, however, you are able to go into a large town, assuming they have an Alchemist population there, which most do. Most of sufficient size do, and you may request to learn spells from them. You may scribe different formula from other Alchemist spell lists, and vice versa. It does cost money to both requisition their formula book to copy and to buy the magical ingredients required to mark the... It costs money, is what it comes down to, but you're capable of doing it. So, we then go to... Is there that I can click somewhere? Okay, Alchemist spells. Again, they're called extracts. It doesn't matter. We call them spells here. So, a lot of good stuff here. Not all of them as useful, but once again, we have access to 6 of them. Go back to Toreb. We have... All of these are going to be first level. So we just click them over to first. Makes things nice and easy so you remember how many you have access to. For the most part, I find very little need for someone like an Alchemist to get extra formulas beyond what they already have access to. The main reason why I would think to do that is, first off, if you're doing like a one-shot, it might be useful, depending on where your cutoffs are, to have a few more extra formula. Beyond that, if you know you're not going to be adventuring somewhere or going to town for a while, it might be useful to grab some ahead of time. But for the most part, only if you get to like a new spell level. For example, when you take over from second level extracts to third level extracts, you'll only unlock 2 extracts known. If you want maybe a third or a fourth, sometimes it can be useful. But for the most part, as most any class, assuming I'm taking all of them, prestige classes are the exception. You don't get to add new formulas. You have to pay for them in that case. But for the base class, and if your GM is not nice, just the 2 is enough. So, stuff that's good. Cure Light Wounds. Not incredible, but it is quite good. It's just your basic healing spell. Endure Elements is going to come up quite regularly. Let's make sure we have that on our spell list. Enlarged Person can be quite decent. Heightened Awareness is one of the best, single best spells in the game. Heightened Awareness because what it does is for 10 minutes per level, as a first level spell, you get a +2 bonus on perception checks and knowledge checks, all knowledge checks you are trained in. However, at any time when you make an initiative check, this can be before or after the roll because it doesn't specify in this circumstance. You may roll it, you may dismiss the spell early to get a +4 bonus on that check. Just bonkers. This is not quite ban-worthy, but I would say it's on the verge of being ban-worthy. Because it is that good. +4 bonus to initiative as a first level spell that lasts 10 minutes per level is ridiculous. The only equivalent lasts 1 minute, 1 minute per level. Anticipate Peril. Lasts 1 minute per level or until discharged. And is automatically applied. You don't have to do it. But not only does Heightened Awareness give you those bonuses, but it also gives you the initiative bonus and the perception bonus, and you can choose to not use it should you choose to. Bonkers. Again, bonkers spell. This and Detect Magic are basically the only reason I don't ever make my post-school divination as a wizard. Because Heightened Awareness is just that good. Once you get up to higher level, this should have like permanent uptime of Heightened Awareness. You cast it last a couple of hours. If you need it for initiative, you pop it. Usually only for boss fights is when I cast it, or if I happen to roll particularly bad. But awesome stuff. The rest of this: Long Arm gives you extra reach. Long Shot gives you bonus damage to range or bonus reach with ranged weapons. Monkey Fish is a pretty good one. It gives you a climb speed and swim speed of 10 feet for a minute per level. It is a personal spell, as I've discovered recently. However, as an alchemist, this is a fantastic option to take as one of your extracts. Specifically because it's not that you need... 10-foot climb speed or 10-foot swim speed is very good in combat. Specifically, though, out of combat is where this shines. Those people that have low strength scores, give them a climb speed. That dinosaur, give it a climb speed somehow. Make, I guess, the bottom of its feet like Spider-Man. So that one person can climb up the cliff, drop a rope down, carry the people up if need be. This is just kind of that out of combat, oh crap, no one can swim, monkey fish it is. Long Shot was good. Reduced Person, if you want to. Shield's another pretty decent choice. +4 shield bonus to AC, and all magic missiles fail against you. Downside, it only lasts a minute per level. Still decent. It's one of those you kind of chug right before you go into a boss fight. Targeted Bomb Admixture. This is going to be another very common one. Again, this only lasts a round per level. So, right before you kick in the door of what you suspect is going to be an important fight, you down this. This makes it so whenever you throw a bomb, instead of doing the splash damage around it, it doubles the intelligence bonus damage you get. Which effectively is, you shouldn't ever be missing, because you're attacking touch AC, so it just adds a bunch of extra bonus damage, and it makes it so your allies are slightly safer. Again, great stuff, great stuff. I don't particularly need Targeted Bomb Admixture at this point in time, it only lasts 1 level. Shield is good, Long Arm, how long does Long Arm last? Minute per level, eh. I don't need it. I guess I don't particularly need any of the rest of these either. Again, you're going to be very, very lacking in terms of offensive spellcast. Large tail. Huh. Might be something I pick up for the animal companion of the hunter that we're building. Kobolds of Galorian. This is not a kobold spell, is it? It doesn't have any racial requirements here. Usually if it is a racial spell, though it is from Kobolds of Galorian, we'll keep that in mind. For now, I think we're just going to go long arm and shield. As for what spells I'm going to prepare, I'm going to go ahead and prepare, let's see, Endure Elements. Does that last all day? It does, in fact, last all day. We only have access to, how many spells per day do we get as an alchemist? That is probably a great question. Classes, we go to Alchemist. First on the old list here, we get 1, plus 1 from our intelligence for a total of 2. So, I would normally take Endure Elements, might make sense, just because it's hot, and I don't like being hot, and I doubt this guy or gal likes being hot. So, I might take that, but for now, I think we're going to be a little bit lacking in terms of healing, so 2 Cure Light Wounds at this level, probably a little bit more viable. Let's go ahead and click the refresh for Toreb. Normally these pop up blue once you prepare them. For whatever reason, it is refusing to. There we go. Okay, that just shows how many you've got, or that shows that you've got those prepared. For something like a wizard, this is just how I would keep my spellbook. Any spellcaster, assuming your lists don't get too obtrusive, just do it like this. One thing to also note, if you've got multiple wizards in your party or multiple alchemists in your party, they are allowed to prepare spells out of each other's spellbook, assuming you are willing or can make a reasonable spellcraft check. Or if you find a wizard spellbook out in the wild, you're able to use that as your spellbook, assuming you can make a DC, I think, 20 spellcraft check. Spellcraft is required to copy and read out of books, so that's another reason for taking spellcraft. But where was I going with this? So, for example, I played in an all-wizard party before. We just had one group document that we used for our spellbook. I just kept the relevant spells in my list here. It's up to you how you want to do it. Again, everybody has their own preference. Thanks for watching. I hope you all enjoyed. Feel free to follow links down below if you want to see some of my content, and I will see you all next time.